Dee, do you know what it's called when you accidentally plant something in your garden that you didn't intend to plant?
I'm afraid to guess.
Oopsie daisies.
It's like a dad joke. Okay, I'll get us started. Welcome to the Garden Angelus, where we chat about flowers, veggies, and all the best dirt. I'm Dee Nash from Guthrie, Oklahoma, where I still have a large garden out in the country. In fact, I have two gardens.
And I'm Carol Michael from Indianapolis, Indiana. I have a suburban garden measured in square feet. It's about 1/3 of an acre.
We are Garden Angelus because we love gardening, and we would love for you to love it too.
Yes, we do love gardening. And we aren't afraid to spill all of our gardening secrets, the good ones, the bad ones, and even the ugly ones. Let's move on to this week's episode. Good afternoon for me, morning for you on Sunday.
Hey, Carol. So tell me what's going on in your garden. I can read it, but I'd rather hear it.
Okay, so we did get a lot of rain last week. Wednesday afternoon, we got 1.5 inches
Mhm.
in it's like it was Oklahoma. So this is the
Just
last
like
day of
that,
May.
lickety split, right?
This is the last day of May, and I would say that we have gotten almost twice the annual expected rainfall for May this month.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
awesome.
So I didn't get a lot done in the garden because we had some rain earlier in the week. But anyway, I've got everything planted that can be planted except for some
Mhm.
marigold and zinnia seedlings and the basil seedlings, which are growing on. I did manage to get the lawn mowed. I pulled some weeds. I did a little bit of trimming of some shrubs at my nephew's house on Saturday. Planted flowers at my sister's house condo on Saturday. I picked strawberries, the last of the lettuce, the first of the snow peas, and as I've hired a lawn service, not to mow, just to fertilize, and it's all organic.
Wow, good for you. I'm
Yes,
impressed.
they come Monday,
I'm impressed.
tomorrow.
Wow, you've been busy.
I have. For somebody who felt like she was rained out.
Yeah, for sure. Well, we got some rain too, but not that much rain. So I met with the irrigation guy, and that's because I expanded that front bed, and when I did, it messed up the sprinklers. So he's going to fix all that. And so I have little flags all over my property now, and we have to get the utilities located because he asked me, he goes, "Do you know where the utilities are?" And I said, "I haven't a clue as to
Underground.
they're somewhere underground." I don't know. So we should get those located. And then I went and I'm keeping up with everything here. It's so easy to keep up with stuff here. It's so nice. But then I went over to the old house and I pulled some weeds in the flower beds and I pulled some weeds in the walkway. And then we had the estate sale. And the estate sale started on Thursday night, but they started working on the estate sale on Tuesday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Monday was a holiday. So Tuesday, and then they got everything tagged and everything put out. And then they started selling on Thursday afternoon, and it went Thursday afternoon, Friday, and Saturday. So that was really busy because I handled a lot of questions, you know, how much will you sell this for kind of stuff.
And you said it's on the estate sale. They've tagged it. You just go ahead and pay that.
There are on those big ticket items, people want a good price, don't they?
Oh,
And
so
then
the estate sale people would call you and say, "Will you take a lower
yeah, they would
price?"
call me. But I also had people reaching out to me constantly on Instagram going, "Does that refrigerator work?" And I was like, "Of course it works. I would not sell a refrigerator that does not work." But, it was fine. It's no big deal. And then let's see, this morning I watched part of the Chelsea Flowers show.
Oh,
And
nice.
you know what? On BritBox, you now have to have a Prime subscription to see that.
So
So,
I have a Amazon Prime account and I have BritBox, so I could watch it.
no. Maybe. No. I don't know. Heavens, I don't know. It was some elevated thing, and I know what happened is all these people would get on there and pay $10.99 just to watch the Chelsea Flower Show and then delete their account,
Not
not
me.
knowing that they have Gardener's World and all those great British shows.
Right.
So I paid the yearly fee, and I'm kinda glad because I really love BritBox, but
Well, I can watch Gardener's World, so I think that I already have BritBox. I'm good.
you what? No, it's not. You need to go check it out because so did I. It's not the same anymore. And
Ah,
then I was so frustrated about the estate sale that I went to Big Creek Nursery in Stillwater. I didn't go back to Bustani because I didn't have time, but I wanted to go to Big Creek. That's the one that's owned by the Amish.
Uh-huh.
I actually have some pictures that I took from it because I put them on my story. And I bought a few plants, and included in that was Phlox paniculata Laura. And then the other night I dreamed about, I have this angel statue that used to sit, in my front garden at my old house, and it now
Uh-huh.
sits in my front garden still. And she's over there by the blue wall. But it looks really bare right around her feet. And so I dreamed that I got my maidenhair fern and planted it all around her feet because it is morning sun and I think it'll work. So I'm gonna dig some up this week. That's part of my
Very good. And now for our listeners, we all demand a picture of the angel statue with or without the maidenhair fern at her feet.
I'll give it to you next week after I plant it because I'm going over
But
there.
I won't have time to put it in the newsletter.
You
That's the
can put
point
it
of it.
in the following newsletter.
Okay,
And then she'll
listeners,
be
now
cool.
like tell all your friends to subscribe to our newsletter because we're going to have a big picture of the angel in there.
Yeah. Let's play favorites. You go first.
My favorite is I have a clematis, Comtesse du Bouchard. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. It sits by the house on the edge of the patio, and it has been a champ because I do nothing for it. And when the
Right.
patio got built, it was trampled, but that was 15 years ago, and it's always a good bloomer. It's blooming really nicely right now, and you walk outside and you think, "Oh, you're so pretty, and you do not cause me any trouble at all. Thank you,
Yeah.
Comtesse du Bouchard Clematis."
Good deal. Okay, so my favorite this week is my pot with the standard mandevilla.
Uh-huh.
It's all twisted and then it has the big puff ball on the top. And in that pot is honey petunias, which I absolutely love. I think they're so beautiful because they're different colors as they fade. I have wire vine in there. I have mizu, and I have this really beautiful coleus that has hot pink in the center, which is the same color as the mandevilla. And I put that pot together when I was working. And I was going to say all of the pots I put together this year were really good. So I'm going to do an Instagram reel. I did one this morning on the irrigation.
I saw that.
I'm going to do one on my pots and what I think makes a good pot because I learned a lot. The other thing is, what was I going to say? Oh, I'm back garden coaching. So if people need a garden coach, I'm back because I can do it. I can come to your house or we can do it by Zoom, whatever makes you happy.
All
Okay.
right, I'm making notes for the newsletter. The irrigation reel, we'll link to that, and we'll make a note that people can get to the garden coaching.
Yeah. I'll
Very
do that.
good.
All right. So our question of the week, I'm going to ask the question and then you answer it because I get this question all the time too. Well, I guess we can both answer it because we have different climates. Is it too late? That's what people ask. Is it too late to sow seeds? Is it too late to plant that plant? Is it too late? We'll start with too late and then you can do the other half of it.
Well, too late. In my climate, zone 6, central Indiana, it's too late to start peas, lettuce, spinach, radishes. Those are early spring crops. It's too late. If you didn't sow them back at the beginning-ish of April, so sad, too bad. You could probably maybe try a fall crop of the greens, but not of the peas.
Yeah,
Everything
peas.
else, you can still plant tomatoes, you can still plant peppers, you can still plant to your heart's delight.
Yeah, you can do the same here too. I would say it's almost the same, and I'm in zone 7. You can Peas almost always have to be planted in the spring here. A lot of other stuff you can grow in the fall too, like radishes and Swiss chard if you're so inclined. Um,
We do not grow Swiss chard. We are forbidden from mentioning Swiss chard by the Swiss Chard Appreciation Society has reached out to me and said, please, you're not giving us our due. So we are forbidden to talk about Swiss chard and
Okay,
our
we're going
dislike of it.
how much we hate it. Spinach.
The
You
Swiss
can
Chard Appreciation Society is going to unsubscribe.
That's okay. The other part is it too late to plant certain things? It's too late probably to plant daylilies because they'll rot on you.
They
You
can
can grow
plant
them
them
in
all year round
pots.
here. Or not all
I
year
know
round.
you
All
can. We talked about that last week.
in paradise. Go ahead.
Not paradise here. The other things you can still plant, and the summer stuff is really happy now. It finally got hot, and so periwinkles are happy, the lantana's finally happy, some things are happy, which is great. I probably wouldn't I probably wouldn't buy a hanging basket of petunias at the moment. That would be
Well, yeah.
that would be say, "Oh, I'm so sorry, that's over." Okay, so then the second part of the question is it too early to order bulbs for spring flowers?
Yeah, because I'm gonna show you, this came in the mail,
Mine
John
did too.
Cheeper's catalog,
Mhm.
and I actually had made a note on my calendar for June 1st to order more clematis corms. Not clematis, cornus. What am I speaking of here, D? Crocus corms.
I don't know because my computer just decided to, like I
Oh,
don't know.
well, you'll just see me going through every C plant name before I got to crocus.
Oh my gosh.
So, I have crocus seeds that I'm got in the refrigerator.
Yeah. Well,
So
I
I'm
have a
gonna,
blank
but
screen, so
you can't see the show notes.
I can't see anything. It's completely black.
Oh, you're reliant on me. Now this is like me interviewing you. Anyway, it is not too early. It is about the time. If you really want to make sure you get the selection that you really, really want, then it's not too early to order bulbs. And here's the thing, most companies like John Cheapers and their wholesale arm, which is Van Engelen, they have a
Uh-huh.
separate catalog,
Yeah,
same stuff, bigger quantities. They generally do not charge your credit card until such time as they fulfill the order. So you'll
right,
get this unexpected charge in fall, early fall. Now, Brent and Becky's bulbs, and I haven't checked, they usually offer a discount if you let them collect the money now. They
right.
offer a discount because then they have the money all summer. But anyway, also a good place to order bulbs. We'll put a link to Brent and Becky's bulbs. We'll put a link to Van Engelen for the bigger wholesale quantities.
Okay, cool. I think my screen just broke. I think my computer it's old, so I think
So where are you looking on your phone now?
no, I'm not looking at all, but you know what? I can look on my phone.
Yes, look on your phone because your cursor just your cursor just did some things and messed up this note, and I'm gonna have to fix it real quick.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm
Last
pulling up the Docs app because in that last update, any app I haven't gotten into recently, they've taken it away. So it's redone.
Really?
Yeah. I had that happen with Starlink and some other stuff, which
Well, I'll move on to the
no,
insect of the
I'm here. I'm here. I can see it now.
Okay.
Come up. All right. So we're at the insect of the week, right?
Yes, and I chose the red admiral butterfly. Do you know why I chose that one, D?
Because we talked about some stuff last week to do with
That's
Admiral Butterfly.
not really. That's not the reason I chose it.
Okay. Well, why?
The reason I chose it is because this week's theme is British gardening, not necessarily the Chelsea Flower Show, but British gardening. We're just going to talk about a couple things. And the red admiral butterfly, turns out that it is a common butterfly in the UK,
Hmm.
also a common butterfly in North America. So we share this butterfly, Vanessa atalanta. Vanessa atalanta. That sounds like, I don't know what that sounds like. Anyway, that's the botanical name, the Latin name of it. I'm going to do a quote so we can do our flower topic.
Yeah. Before my computer decides to lose its mind again.
My gardens over the years have been exciting experiments in discovering the plants I like best, and that is Mary Berry.
Who is mostly well known for baking, but she also
Exactly.
is a gardener. All
Yes.
right. And so you decided we were going to do winning flowers at the Chelsea Flower Show, which I love. And then I also brought up double up red begonias, which are a new flower.
Yes. And so I was thinking that in the United States, there is not a big deal plant of the year like there is at Chelsea, where they have plants that are judged by experts. And I pulled up
Mhm.
the site and
From the RHS.
yes. And this year's winner for 2026 is something called Hosta Red Ninja. Have you seen pictures of this, Dee?
No, because I just started watching the Chelsea Flower Show. Okay, I'm looking at it right now.
What say
It's
you, Dee?
pretty. Huh?
Yeah, it's got tinges of red in the veining, and then the leaves sort
Are
of have
really
a
dark.
I'm not sure I like it.
I'm not feeling it really, so I'm gonna put a link to it in our show notes. So, oh, do you have a link to it on
I
the
have a link
RHS
to this
site?
RHS site.
Well, this is a link that if someone wanted to buy it here.
Yeah, yeah. I would go down to my local hosta nursery and see if they have it. Then the second place, and this is where it differs in the United States, our closest comparable competition, I guess, would be the All America selections,
Yeah, the closest.
but they
Because
they don't have like the next second place is a hydrangea, so we would never have hostas, a perennial, competing with hydrangeas, a shrub.
right, ours are all separate. So, and it's also tested all over the country in various
Yes.
test gardens. So, when somebody from the AHS, I mean, from I'm not thinking right now. When it's one of those plants from here, we know that it is pretty good, especially if it wins nationally.
Right, and then the difference between us and Great Britain is we do have national winners, but we also have regional winners. So there
We
could be a
do.
Great Lakes winner that is great for Carol, but terrible for D, and there could be one for Southwest or whatever region you're in that could be terrible for me. Look at second place from the RHS. D, Hydrangea paniculata, groundbreaker ruby, a, a hydrangea as a ground cover.
Well, there are those ones like wedding. There was one with wedding in the name, and it was kind of a ground cover. I had it. I tested it, and I liked it. They're very low. I wouldn't call them really a ground cover. They're just very low growing.
Right. This says it's 40 centimeters high. So how high is 40 centimeters in inches?
I'll look.
You look and tell me what that is. I mean, there has to be some height to it. 15
15.78.
inches. So this
15.78.
this would be a large ground cover, but
Yeah,
I
I
can
mean, I
see.
think it's like that one I had. I think it just kind of drapes.
Yes, I
I
think
think
this
that's
would be
what it
very
is.
pretty in the right location, and I can
I
think
do
of a
too.
couple of great locations.
Ooh, third place.
Third place, hydrangea velvet night red lace. It's kind
Okay,
of
I have to say I did see that one on the Chelsea Flower Show because they were in the pavilion.
uh-huh.
There were 3 or 4 of these in the pavilion together planted, and they were stunning with those black leaves and the red. That's a lace cap, so it wouldn't like Oklahoma for a lot of reasons, but that's still pretty.
It is very pretty, and who's that tattoo artist, that Kit what's her name? Kit Van Dam is what is her that moved to
Cat,
Indiana? Cat.
yeah, Cat Van isn't it Van D's or so I can't Cat Van D?
Yeah, who has the black tulips?
Yeah, she would love this.
She needs a lot of this in her garden. It's
Yeah,
very stunning.
pretty.
I don't think I have a place for it in my garden, but in the right garden. If you had a
Well,
white house, boy, that'd pop up against that.
it would look really good against a White House. The thing is, I don't even know if it's sold here yet. And
Yeah.
let's talk about that for just a second. So, plants, sometimes plants are not sold, like the ones in England are not sold in the US and vice versa. And also sometimes they are sold in both places, but they're in different names.
Right.
So don't expect to find, I mean, I think this is relatively new. I don't expect that it would be really common here. And I was going to look and see if it's even sold here yet.
You do that, and then they have some other 2026 finalists. And there's a couple of clematis vines, which are very pretty. There's a euphorbia. There's something called a James Britannia. I've never heard of James Britannia as a botanical name. So I will have to look that up because that one is new to me.
No, there's not. There's nothing. No, it's not here yet for
Well,
sure. And then the closest thing I would say that I see pulled up pretty fast is heartthrob hydrangea. It's a
yeah,
compact dwarf one. It does have the dark red blooms and it does have dark leaves, but it's not a lace cap either. So don't expect to be able to always find what they have in Great Britain. And if you're, especially with roses, they rename them big time.
right.
So
There
it's
are
complicated.
there are two roses that made the final or that were under consideration, and that was Rosa Watford Forever, which is yellow with breaks of orange in it. Very
Mhm.
lovely. And then Rosa Amarose, which is I guess it's okay. I mean, it's a pink rose, whatever.
Okay, so the Watford Forever is like the painted roses here. It has color breaks. And then the Amarose, oh gosh, it's one of those with the eyes in the center. And that I want it, oh man, I hate to say this because I have a feeling that Teresa Byington's going to correct me, but I think that comes from Rosa persica, the Persian roses.
Right.
They have the eyes.
Well, and on this website that we're looking at, they have the previous winners, and it's interesting because last year it was the Philadelphus, which is mock orange,
Yes.
and then
Oh, I had
2020.
it right.
What? Oh, you
Get it
did.
right. It's Rosa persica, hysterically called Holthemia persica. It's native to Iran, Afghanistan, and Central Asia, and they have the eye at the center. So all of the modern ones go back to that rose. Okay.
Ah, good to
Sorry to
know.
sorry to be so.
That's okay. I was noting that 2021 was Cercis canadensis eternal flame. Obviously, they don't have to be native to Great Britain. That is not a native
No.
plant. Flamethrower is the variety of red bud around here that people would probably get.
Yeah, I grew flamethrower and loved it
Now, before we talk about the plant of the centenary, because they named a plant for the century, which I'm assuming was for
last
2020.
century, right?
Well, it was Geranium roseanne, which just grows gangbusters in my front bed here.
It doesn't grow well here for
You know,
me.
a lot of people say it doesn't, and I found a sweet spot for it. It just kind of climbs
People
through.
love it. Yeah,
It'll bloom all summer, well
yeah,
into fall.
good deal. All right. Well,
Wait a
that
minute,
was
I want to
interesting.
talk about 2019, which was Sedum tachysimenense, and the variety was Atlantis, and it's a
Mhm,
variegated sedum. And
mhm.
just by chance, I think the year that was named, Courtney had it at the greenhouse, and I bought some. Didn't
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
Didn't live.
There's a lot of things that are I'm looking at all the runners up and I'm like, "That won't grow here, that won't grow here." But
Yeah.
that's okay. There are versions, like, you can buy the eyed flower roses here, and you can buy the color break ones. It's just they're a little different. That was cool. Thanks for
Yeah.
sharing that.
So, and then we'll also link to the All American selection so you can see it's different in the United States because whereas people, I don't know how you get into the Chelsea Flower Show to have your flower judged, but then all the experts huddle around it and market. And for All American selections, those are grown out by people and then they judge them as they grow them. And there's all kinds of trial gardens all over the United States. So,
Yeah, a lot of them are at universities.
yes.
A
So, a
lot of
bit
them.
different, but very interesting. And so, be careful looking at those, like you said, because you may not be able to find it, and then your little gardening heart will be broken.
Yeah, don't let it be broken. Want me to
Okay.
do the quote?
Yes.
"The love of gardening is a seed once sown that never dies." Gertrude Jekyll. And she's a renowned British horticulturist. In fact, she's the person who taught us to use color in our gardens pretty
Yes.
extensively. That's what she's known for. One of
Yes.
the
Very
I should
famous.
say one of the things. She's also a rose. She's a David Austin rose, and it's still one of the best, even though it was one of the very first that came to America.
Yes.
So,
And
vegetables, classic British vegetable garden. What do they grow?
well, and I was thinking about this. England, they've been having a record heat wave, I hear.
I've been there when they have a record heat wave. It's hard
And
because 'cause they're not
so
set up for that.
they are not. And so even in their gardens, they grow things like cabbages, carrots, potatoes, turnips, leeks, things that will do well in a cooler climate
Mhm.
that, like in Oklahoma, leeks, turnips, they're
They don't
done.
have a long they don't we don't have a long enough cool season unless you grow them all the way through winter, and then they'd probably get killed by the snow, so you'd have to do them in a cold frame. It's just complicated. Yes, and you noted that tomatoes, they grow them in the summer in greenhouses, and I've seen it. So, yes, they do.
Yeah,
They
Monty
also
Don
grow
on Gardener's
peppers and
World.
all the hot stuff. But they they're having a hard time because they're not used to watering their gardens. I mean, the last time I was there, which was 2019, I think, right before yeah, because I was supposed to go in 2020 when the stupid COVID happened. There was one garden in particular that was just beautiful, and it was having a terrible time with the heat wave, and the woman who had tended it had died, and her husband was now tending it, okay? And it was looking pretty rough because it needed water, and he came up to me I don't know why. He came up to me and he said, "I don't know what to do." And he started telling me the story, right? And I said, "You've got to get some water in here." I said, "You need water." And he goes, "We've never had to water before." I said, "I
Oh,
know."
and yeah, and you're like, that's one of the that's like the summer gardening activity is watering.
Here it is. So they're having hotter summers, and I also have a friend in the game. His name is Cliff, and he and his wife have a beautiful house in England. And
Mhm.
he was telling me that they don't have air conditioning, so they've been sitting out on their patio and trying to stay cool. And I was like, "Yeah, I know.
I've
I think
heard.
I think it's going to be hard for them. I really do."
But back to gardening. So,
Sorry, that
do
that part was about gardening. One
it
part of
is,
it was,
it is,
and then
it
I
is.
talked about a patio. Okay,
Yeah,
go ahead.
okay. I beg your pardon, D. You were right on topic. Uh, I did look up the top non-animal agricultural crops in the UK because Clarkson's Farm is starting season 5 this
Can't
week.
wait. Can't wait.
So,
Is it this week?
I think it's, June 5th, I think, or
Oh, I'm so excited. Although last season was really sad, and I've heard this season is sad too,
I
so
heard there's
dang
a
it,
lot of stuff going on this
dang
season.
it. Okay, so
But, that's real life. It's not easy to be a farmer.
it's really hard to be a farmer and a gardener. Okay, so top non-animal agricultural tops in the crops in the UK. And it's wheat, barley, sugar beet, potatoes, rapeseed, and oats. And you said, what is rapeseed? Which is what it's called throughout the world. It's
Yes,
just
it
not called
is.
that here. It's a
So
beautiful,
it is a
beautiful
beautiful
plant.
plant. It's a yellow flowered plant. Scientifically, it's Brassica napus, and it's grown for the oil-rich seeds, and those oil-rich seeds are turned into canola oil.
Canola oil. So in the United States, we call that crop canola,
Yes.
but nobody else does. They all call it rapeseed or, whatever their languages
And,
version.
a friend of mine, we play trivia on Thursday nights at a local pizza place, and by the
Mhm.
way, we came in 2nd last week without any gardening questions.
I was gonna say this isn't a gardening topic.
No, but what I'd like for and I always tell the quiz master or whatever she is, she doesn't get to make up the questions, but I say, "Could you put a bug in their ear for more plant-related questions? Because I can get those right." Where,
Yeah,
like, the top team that always wins, they
yeah,
didn't know which of the following was not a legume. Ready?
I'm ready.
Cocoa beans, lentils, peanuts, and peas. That was so obvious. I slapped that
Cocoa
answer down and
beans?
ran it over there, and people are like, "What do you think?" Well, cocoa beans are obviously not a
They're
legume,
not a legume.
and
Yeah.
I want him to have a question that said, "Rapeseed is used to make what kind of oil?" And then I would write canola, and off I'd go
Exactly.
running to the desk.
Canola
Here.
oil. And it's a beautiful plant because it blooms this gorgeous yellow and it has kind of blue-green foliage, so it's just those fields are beautiful. We have them in Oklahoma too.
Which reminds me that I grew some lettuce in some little containers, and the one has gone to seed, and it's beautiful yellow flowers, and I thought, "Well, you've gone to seed, and I didn't really do anything with you. I need to pull you out and put some summer annuals in there." But anyway,
I have the same thing with my dinosaur kale. It's making beautiful flowers, and you know what I said? I go, "You can just sit there and feed the pollinators,"
there you
because
go.
it's at
Exact
my old house.
Well, one other thing we should say about British vegetable gardens compared to United States vegetable gardens.
Yeah.
I suspect that most British gardeners who are growing vegetables or veg as they call it, they don't say vegetable,
Mhm.
they say veg. They have an allotment garden somewhere away from their home that they have waited years to get on the list and to be able to have.
I think that's true in some places, like if you're near London,
Yes.
a big city, but out in the countryside, they have their vegetable garden and they have their ornamental garden. So
Yes. Yeah,
and
I'm
it's
I'm thinking about the city folks. They
yeah, the
have
city the
allotments.
city people, they love their allotment gardens. So
Very good. I'm gonna do a quote, we're gonna talk about the bookshelf. Gardening is not a race or the winning of a competition, but a lifelong intimacy. And that is Monty Don, British broadcaster and
mhm.
gardener, much maligned by some people there, but much beloved by others.
I love him, so he will always be one of my favorites,
Yes.
as will Carol Plant. I like her too.
Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. I can't put it up because I put mine on my Kindle.
I put it
Mary
up.
Berry. and it's My Gardening Life by Mary Berry, and you can buy it on Kindle or you can buy the hardback or you can get it from the library. Didn't you get it from the library?
I did, but you know what, Dee? I listened to the audiobook.
Did you like it? I bet it
I
was good.
loved it. The audiobook is fabulous to just kinda and I was gardening and stuff, and it feels like you're with Mary Berry, your little friend, your older friend. She's 90 when she wrote this book. I think she's 91 now.
She's amazing.
But she is obviously a much celebrated cookery writer and presenter
Yeah,
in Great Britain.
an
Um,
amazing baker.
yes. She said that a passion that was sparked in childhood as she helped her father in their vegetable patch, gardening has become a great source of joy for Mary. And so
Mhm.
she talks a lot about what she's gardened, some of the plants, and this is one that it does go year by or through the season. So there's spring and summer and just what's growing and how they've changed their garden around. And, she's like Sarah Raven, who's her bestie gardening friend. So she gets advice from
Well, it must
Sarah.
be nice to have her as your best friend.
But, she didn't start out
Mm.
as this famous TV star, so to speak. She started out doing classes in villages and stuff, and she taught people how to use their Aga stoves, I guess, properly. That was
Uh-huh.
one of the things she did. She'd go around and give classes on how to really make use of that stove, and
'Cause it's not the easiest thing to cook with.
no, but
Um,
it's got nice photos from her garden I'm holding up like that.
Beautiful.
So, I just thought it was a very quietly wonderful little audiobook, and I thoroughly enjoyed listening to it, and I wouldn't mind going back and listening to it again, and I got this from the library, but she might have to sit on my shelf. I might have to take this back and get
Yeah,
one.
I don't want the Kindle version now. I want the hardback. I really do.
You want Mary on your shelf because you wanna just flip
Well, I
to it?
like Mary. For one thing, I was also gonna say not only is she on the British Baking Show, but I also found her other she has another show, and that show is called Mary Berry's Country House Secrets, and it was put out by I know, it's really good.
Is it on
Um,
BritBox or where can I watch this? I
I think I
immediately
watched it on BritBox, but it might have been PBS, and I just found it on PBS, so I'm gonna get the link right now. And she went to, like, 4 places, if I remember what, and
Uh-huh.
one of them was Highclere Castle, and she also went to Scotland, and she always makes some food. She always goes in the garden with the gardener. I mean, it's a very
Yeah. She lists her favorite tools, her favorite methods, and obviously she's had and I don't know how long this one guy's been coming to her garden, like, every Thursday, I think it is, he comes and
helps
finds
her.
something to do year round. So it says, "Full of anecdotes, pearls of wisdom, and beautiful photos of Mary's own garden. My gardening life is a unique memoir told through the gardens Mary has loved." As she says, "In another life, I may have been a gardener." She talks about her childhood. It's really sweet, and I probably will listen to the audiobook again this summer, and like I said, going back to the library, but I'm gonna go out to bookshop.org and order me a copy
I
for
can see
my
why it's
library.
a good really good one. And I put the link to the Highclere Castle on here.
So it is PBS for
It
anybody
is
that's interested.
PBS.
Okay,
All right. You want the quote?
do.
The real point of a garden is to increase the value of our lives. And that's Anna Pavard. And she's a British garden writer and she's famous for the tulip and the bulb. She's written a bunch of things. And she also wrote for a British magazine for a long time,
Mhm.
but just a beautiful, beautiful writer.
So the dirt you found the dirt, and I thought I had other dirt, and I thought this dirt belongs here because this is, all things British.
Mhm.
So you found a tree-growing
Oh, it's so
grandmother in
sweet.
Yorkshire. So sweet. But this grandmother decided that she can grow trees from seeds, and she says, "What I can do is just a drop in the ocean, but an ocean is made up of lots of drops." And her name is Janet Williner, and she lives in North Yorkshire.
She
Gosh,
bought and they're all the native trees, they're native Great Britain trees, and then
4,000.
she's done 4,000, and I don't know if she's been doing it 20 years. No, 10. She
She started in 2020, I think.
Yeah, so in 10 years, she wanted to do 5,000 trees, but she's already done 4,000. So she just wants because there's been that whole campaign in Great Britain called Greening Great Britain,
Right.
and so this lovely lady is doing her part, and I just she gives the trees away to people, and then people plant them in their yards. She grows them up from the seed, so it's kinda cool that she grows them from seed too.
And,
Diversity.
funny, not funny, but before I saw this clip, I had told the president of her HOA because we have a common area that's got big pines that are not gonna last forever,
Mhm.
Norway spruces that are being attacked by a
So
fungus,
yeah,
stupid Bradford pears that we should have cut out 20 years ago.
yeah.
And so as those trees get removed, it's expensive to add new trees, and we're not a big HOA. You know, we're just keeping the lights on basically. So I
Mhm,
told him the other day, I said, "Hey, we ought to pot up some oak seedlings. I get oak tree seedlings all over the place now." I said, "I'm going to start potting them up. We're going to go pile them in the common area. Some of them are going to make it, and then, in 10 years, they'll be big enough trees. So
mhm.
then we could cut down the trees around them. What do you think?"
Did
And
you know
he's like,
that
"Go for it."
the fire burned all those trees on that hillside? Well, Bill saved, like, anything that looked like it could sprout from the ground because
Yeah,
a lot of oak trees, share root systems. It looks like a hedge already, and that was only 6 years ago. So,
yeah.
yeah, I think you can do that easily, wasn't it?
It
No,
was less than
2020.
6,
It
4.
was 3 years ago. Yeah, it was
It was in
2023.
22?
No, it was 2023.
Okay,
Yeah,
so it's 3 years
terrible.
ago. Time flies when you're
Okay.
having fun.
You know what? I thought 2020 because that's when we had the ice storm. I just had a momentary lapse.
That's
Had the
okay.
giant ice storm that knocked out all the trees, and then we had the fire. So
I
when
guess
people
the
say,
the
"Are you
the
fast?"
lesson from Instagram is one person can make a difference.
Yeah, of course they can, and fast. That's what I was saying about your trees. So we found an article about her too, and Carol's now gonna do the next quote.
There is always something else to do. A gardener should have 9 times as many lives as a cat. Vita Sackville West.
And I know why you picked that
You
for
picked it.
oh, well, it goes really well with our garden to visit, but we gotta do our rabbit holes first. I I don't have a rabbit hole. I did an
Uh,
estate sale.
I barely have a rabbit hole. I mean, we talked about the lost lady of garden writing, Louise Riotti, or however she says her last name.
She said it
She's
really.
not British, so
Yeah.
I really shouldn't link to her here. She's not British.
She's Oklahoman,
Yeah, she is. But
so
that's
that
not
works. She
that
was from
yeah.
Oklahoma. She was from Ardmore, and you wrote a really beautiful piece about her, and I read it.
Thank
And
you.
she's famous because her books are still in print, even though she's long dead.
Yeah, she's long dead.
She was
Anyway,
alive when I first started gardening.
I also bought another huge big dictionary, which kinda ties into the dirt we were gonna use, but we'll talk about that another time because I do need 2 6-inch thick dictionaries around here. The one I bought from 1961, the other one I had was from '66, and as
Uh-huh.
I told anyway, they were set out at church. They're emptying the priest's library at church because they're moving out of there, and so every Sunday, like, mostly religious books show up on the table and you can give a donation. Well, last Saturday, week ago Saturday, there were 2 6-inch dictionaries. Did I tell you this story already?
No, no.
So I'm like, as soon as I walked in, I saw that and I told my friend, going back and getting that. You just leave a donation." So I went back and had my hand on that dictionary, and this little girl comes up and she says, "My brother
Oh,
was
you
looking
did
at
tell me
those.
that.
My
Yes.
brother was looking at those." And so I convinced her. I said, "He can have the one that's got the cover still on it because it was, like, from the early '80s. I'll take this other one that's not as good because it was from '61 and I wanted the older one." So, anyway, it's big. And I said, "Even if you don't wanna look up words in it, because the print is so tiny in this one compared to
Yeah.
'66, so tiny." They are great for pressing flowers, bringing it back to gardening. They're
I was
great for
like, "Why are you buying 6-inch dictionaries?"
they're great for you can stick flowers in. We used to have those big telephone books.
Yeah.
We don't
Yeah.
have big telephone books to press flowers in. I gotta buy old dictionaries, and then I can put them between 2 pieces of paper and then stick them in between, and those things will be pressed in
I
no
bought a
time.
I bought a microwave press and used it. It was
I have a microwave press.
they work,
It
but I
works,
get it. I get that you want that romance of putting it in the dictionary, right?
I guess. Let's talk about a garden to visit.
Okay, you chose Sissinghurst, and you said you went there, didn't you? And I said,
No,
"I
I
did."
said oh, yeah, I said you went there.
Yeah, and I did. I went there. It was my very first trip to England. I've been 5 times. Sissinghurst is amazing, and it's a very quick trip out of London, so it's one that gets visited a lot. It's Vita Sackville West's property that she had with Harold Nicholson. And when they bought it, it was a ruin and they brought it back to life. And then now her nephew, Andrew, I think, or is your son? Oh, I can't remember.
I think it's a grandson.
Yeah, maybe grandson. Anyway, he and Sarah Raven, they redid the gardens too, and they brought the gardens back and they were working on this when I went to visit in 2015. They brought the gardens back to how they looked when Vita had them. And
Right.
there's a big tower because it's a farmhouse and it had a big tower. And so that big tower is where her writing room was. And they've restored all of it too. And then the garden is being restored. And of course, most people in the United States, if they talk about Sissinghurst, they think of the White Garden,
Right.
right? That is a tiny, tiny part of that garden. It's almost nothing. And I always get a chuckle out of it because the rest of the garden is huge and it has a meadow. I mean, it's just huge. So the White Garden's tiny. She just made it so that she could go out at nighttime.
But they talk about Harold Nicholson and Vita making a good couple for putting together because Harold did all the structure, created the rooms and stuff, and then Vita picked out all the plants.
Well, that's what Bill and I did for years too. And that's why we had to move because Bill can't do anything like that right now.
So the other thing is, what was that book we read about saving the old roses a couple of weeks ago or maybe a couple months ago?
A couple of months ago, yeah.
That there's a lot in there about Vita and her roses and stuff, which if we were saying we could remember the title, but I will put a link to that book in the show notes because that's
And
worth
there's
reading.
also a really lovely book by that same lady that we like so much about Sissinghurst.
That's really helpful, Dee. That lady that we like so much.
Marta McDowell. Didn't she do one on Sissinghurst?
I don't think Marta McDowell did one on Sissinghurst. She did one on
Well,
Beatrix Potter's garden. That's
yeah,
British.
there's also no, that's not, I'm not confusing it with that, but it may not be the same author. So anyway, there's a really famous book about Sissinghurst.
Okay, you find that title and I'll put a link to it in the show notes.
There's so many books about Sissinghurst.
Oh yeah.
I think it's
Let's while you look that up, let's talk about garden commissions.
Yeah, go to the next thing.
I'm going to trim the shrubs here. Normally I would do my nephews after mine, but they're getting pictures taken on their front steps. And she sent a text and said, "Hey, we're getting pictures taken on our front step," because she won some portrait thing. Be nice if those shrubs were trimmed. I'm like, I'll be right on it. I got to pull out the lettuce that's bolted and plant more beans in their place. I'm going to pick more strawberries as they come along slowly. And the heat comes up. I'll have one last flush of them. I grew some red currant tomatoes and I got to take one out to my sister this week and maybe we'll visit a few plenty places on her side of town. In other words, I'm going to be celebrating and living the gardening life. How about you, Dee?
Okay, so I'm going to go back to Sissinghurst for just a second. The book I was thinking of was actually written by Sarah Raven.
Well,
and
that makes sense.
Then her husband also wrote one about the history of it. But the name of the book by Sarah Raven is a companion piece to the other book. Okay, it's called Vita Sackville West Sissinghurst. And there's a big review of it, and it's called Harold Nicholson produced Sissinghurst, An Unfinished History.
I think I've read that one.
The new book is by Sarah Raven, and it's not that new now, but I had it on my shelf. I don't know if I brought it with me or not. Anyway, that's the name of it. I'll put in a link. Now, you want to know what my garden commissions are, right?
I do.
I'm going to get the irrigation done. He's supposed to come on Wednesday, and I will watch him because I want to make sure all my pots get tubes in them,
right?
Because I can get them on drip. Because he promised me drip on all the ones around the edge, and they're almost all around the edge on purpose. That way I don't have to water so many pots. And let's see, what else will I do? Oh, I'm going to go over to the house and pull some weeds, and then I'm going to work with Michelle on Wednesday to just kind of spruce things up. I need to cut back my plants. There's not been a Chelsea chop at my house.
Oh, it's past time for you. It's about time for me.
It's sadness. It's just, they're just obnoxious. And you know what? I did my lavender too late, so it's barely blooming this year.
Oh,
so
sad.
Sad. But I don't live there, so it's really
You
hard.
need to put that house on the market now.
The house is it is going to be on the market after next week.
Excellent. Well,
Okay,
that happy
so
news.
and I guess that's part of the deal too. But I'm getting the garden ready and I'm going to also work on the front walkway because when it rains really hard, which we had that 5 inches of rain really fast week before last, the mud comes down onto the brick. And so I've got to clean all that up.
Ah,
The way I
yes.
picked the house this time, which has a driveway that goes down
There you go.
on a hill. All right, that's it. We should wrap it up.
Thank you for listening to The Garden Angelist. We publish every week on Wednesdays at 12 a.m. Eastern Time. Be sure and follow us on Apple Podcasts. That helps us get noticed by others.
If you subscribe to our Substack newsletter, you'll get a link to listen to the podcast a whole day early and links to the products we discuss. Plus, go over to YouTube and see us in person. Full episodes show up on Tuesdays. Oh, so if you can't wait until Wednesday, you now have 2 ways to get episodes on Tuesdays. I blanked out for a second.
Except for last week when Carol forgot to hit the publish button on the one that goes on the
That
RSS
one lady,
feed.
I saw she said, "Oh no, do you not have them on Apple Podcast?"
So it went out on Thursday. As soon as she said that, I'm like, oopsie. If you want to help support us, use our affiliate links. If you buy something after clicking through on them, we earn a small commission and it doesn't cost you a thing extra.
Or you can set up a monthly subscription through Buzzsprout, and several people have. Or you can make a one-time donation through PayPal. You also have the option of pledging your support on Substack, which would be about the newsletter.
Thank you to everyone who has done so. It helps us pay for podcast hosting.
It was lovely to chat with all of you over the Garden Gate. Bye until next week.
Bye, everybody.